Madam Presiding Officer, I now present the expenditure estimates for 2019, beginning with the recurrent estimates. The recurrent estimates for fiscal 2019 totals $3.2 billion. Disaggregated personal expenditure, $901.2 million. Goods and services, $1 billion. Minor equipment purchases, $113.7 million. And transfers and subsidies, $1.1 billion. Madam Presiding Officer, this represents an increase of $40.7 million from last year's request. The recurrent estimates by division for fiscal 2019 are as follows. Assembly Legislature, $26.1 million. Office of the Chief Secretary, $233.3 million. Finance and Economy, $264.4 million. Tourism, Culture and Transportation, $381.1 million. Education, Innovation and Energy, $486.6 million. Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor, $123.2 million. Infrastructure, Quarries and Environment, $522.3 million. Food Production, Forestry and Fisheries, $312.5 million. Health, Wellness and Family Development, $756.3 million. Settlements, Urban Renewal and Public Utilities, $35.4 million. And Sport and Youth Affairs, $97 million. Madam Presiding Officer, some of the highlights in the recurrent expenditure for fiscal 2019 are the Tobago Regional Health Authority, $510.1 million. The Tobago Tourism Authority, $141.4 million. School Feeding Program, $50 million. Information Technology Center, $15.5 million. The Tobago Hospitality Institute, $15 million. Assistance to Small Properties, $8.6 million. The Agricultural Incentive Program, $4 million. Grant and Assistance Patients, $3 million. Assistance to Cultural Groups, $2.5 million. Assistance to Sporting Organizations, $2 million. A Sport Development Program, $2 million. Assistance to Sporting Organizations, Assistance to Sport Tourism Organizations, $2 million. And the Tobago Agricultural Society, $2 million. Madam Presiding Officer, I now turn my attention to the estimates for the development program. The estimates for the development program for fiscal 2019 amount to $1.38 billion, representing a decrease of $228.4 million from the estimates of 2018. The development program estimates are disaggregated as follows. Pre-investment studies, $25 million. Productive sectors, $15.5 million. Economic infrastructure, $663.7 million. Social infrastructure, $430.9 million. And multi-sectoral and other services, $215.4 million. Madam Presiding Officer, to continue our diversification efforts and to facilitate the development of our local private sector, our estimates in the development program will continue to provide support in the following areas. The Enterprise Development Company of Tobago, it cut $40.7 million. The Business Incubator Program, $10.1 million. The Scarborough Esplanade Phase 2 Program, $6 million. The Enterprise Development Grant Program, $6 million. The Tobago Venture Capital Equity Fund Limited Program, $4 million. Madam Presiding Officer, given the importance of tourism to the Tobago economy, the 2019 estimates will provide for infrastructural works at Pigeon Point, $9.1 million. Upgrade works at Manta Lodge, $8.3 million. The Law Wildlife Nature Park, $7.5 million. The construction of Phase 2 of the Fort King George Heritage Park, $6.4 million. The construction of beach facilities at Englishman's Bay, $2 million. The construction of cruise ship berths, $2 million. Madam Presiding Officer, the agricultural sector revitalization program will remain a priority for this administration in fiscal 2019. As such, the estimates caters for the agricultural access roads program, $55 million. The establishment of agro-processing facilities, $11.5 million. The improvement to beaches and landing facilities, $10 million. The Goldsboro Estate Irrigation Project, $8.5 million. The development of an agro park at the Friendship Estate, $5 million. And the Comprehensive State Land Development Program, $4 million. Madam Presiding Officer, support for education is also a primary area of focus for this administration in fiscal 2019, and our development program estimates make provision for the support of educational programs and improvement of facilities. We have therefore budgeted for the improvements to primary schools, $20 million, the establishment of a Tobago Science Research Center, $7 million, the establishment of early childhood care centers, $5 million, a seamless education program, $5 million, establishment of visual arts and performance theaters in primary schools, $3 million, upgrade Happy Haven School, $2.5 million, the construction of the school for the deaf, for the physically challenged, $2.5 million, an upgrade of the Roxborough Trade Center, $1.5 million. Madam Presiding Officer, in fiscal 2019, we have also provision for an accelerated public sector housing program. Accordingly, our development program estimates provide for the Corland Estate land development, $26 million. Land development at Sherburne Road, $18 million. The Adelphi Estate, $15.8 million. Home improvement grants, $10 million. The development of Bell Garden Estate Phase 2, $7.2 million. The Adventure Estate Plymouth Road development, $3 million. And home improvement subsidies totaling $2 million. Madam Presiding Officer, will continue to upgrade and expand our road network and other physical infrastructure in fiscal 2019, and the estimates provide for an expanded road resurfacing program of $50 million, major improvement works to secondary roads, $40 million, rehabilitation of the Claude Noel Highway, $27 million, the Coastal Zone Protection Program, $25 million, construction of Milford Road bridges, $25 million, the Windward Road Special Development Program, $18 million, construction of the Milford Road bypass to Smithfield, $15 million, construction of the A&R Robinson International Airport Boulevard, $15 million, construction of sea defense walls, $15 million, the Milford Coastal Protection Program, $10 million, the construction of the Canaan Bonaccord Connector Train, $8 million, erection of the Roxborough Bloody Bay Retaining Wall, $7.5 million, and repair work along the Plymouth-Annisvale Road, $6 million, and the improvements to the Mount Pleasant Lowlands Drainage System, $5 million. Madam Presiding Officer, going forward, this is just a snapshot of the activities we propose to undertake on the development program in fiscal 2019. Since these projects and programs are widely dispersed across the island, the economic benefits will certainly diffuse throughout all communities in Tobago. Madam Presiding Officer, the only other estimates to be included for fiscal 2019 are provisions for URP and CEPEP of $70 million and $54.1 million, respectively. Madam Presiding Officer, within recent times, both URP and CEPEP programs were significantly restructured. In fact, the Executive Council approved a new strategic plan for CEPEP, while URP formulated a new policy framework to guide its operations for the period 2018 to 2020. Both programs were restructured to allow for a greater focus on skills training to enable employees to graduate from them, as well as to allow for a greater focus on revenue-generating activities, as well as support for the agricultural sector. Madam Presiding Officer, for fiscal 2019, the estimates of revenue, both tax and non-tax, are as follows. Taxes on income and profits, $143.5 million. Taxes on property, $0.6 million. Taxes on goods and services, $58.4 million. Taxes on international trade, $2.5 million. Other taxes, $5.2 million, resulting in total tax revenue of $210.3 million. Property income taxes, $0.1 million. Other tax revenue, $0.6 million, resulting in total non-tax revenue of $0.7 million. And taken together, Madam Presiding Officer, the total revenue projected for fiscal 2019 is $211.1 million. Madam Presiding Officer, although the current revenue collection in Tobago do not match the expenditure, this is in no way a true reflection of the value of Tobago's real contribution to the national economy. What is not considered here are revenues generated from activities related to the exploration and production of energy resources in the marine spaces around the island of Tobago. This is one of the central issues in the legislation for internal self-government. It is also the case that current revenue collections in Tobago do not include taxes, fees, duties, and levies of companies and financial institutions in respect of their Tobago operations, since these are currently paid centrally in Trinidad by their head offices, contrary to Section 49(2), the Tobago House of Assembly Act 40 of 1996. Madam Presiding Officer, it also does not include the taxes paid by many Tobagonians who on almost a daily basis conduct business in Trinidad. For example, there are many Tobagonians who import motor vehicles and other goods via companies in Trinidad, and the taxes they pay on the importation of these items are collected nationally. Madam Presiding Officer, all these issues related to tax collection in Tobago are addressed in the new legislation for self-government. Madam Presiding Officer, the Assembly continues to place a high priority on revenue-generating projects, and in this context, I'm happy to report that the Studley Park Enterprise Limited has improved the efficiency and productivity of the quarry and is now a profitable enterprise. Discussions are ongoing with various financial institutions as the Tobago House of Assembly explores alternative financing mechanisms, such as bond financing, to fund its development initiatives on the island. A policy decision has been taken to obtain financing from the domestic markets. From our recent discussions, the feedback has been very positive. As we seek to raise additional funding, Madam Presiding Officer, the Tobago House of Assembly will strengthen its institutional arrangements to enable effective debt management. In the upcoming fiscal year, the Assembly proposes to raise funds via a bond issue to accelerate Tobago's developmental thrust. Madam Presiding Officer, at the beginning of this administration's term, a concerted effort was made to increase our collaboration with our multilateral partners and other key stakeholders in the financial sector and diplomatic community to leverage their expertise for improved operational efficiency and financial support. Several of these initiatives are well underway, and new opportunities are being continuously cultivated through these partnerships. Madam Presiding Officer, the current economic challenges compel us to take a more strategic approach to the way we conduct business in the Tobago House of Assembly. In the words of the Honorable Chief Secretary, it is business as unusual. In fiscal 2019, the Assembly is to be included in a pilot program facilitated by an Inter-American Development Bank loan to modernize the national accounting systems through the adoption of a new public financial management framework. This integrated financial management information system, or IFMIS, would include business process reengineering for budget presentation and execution, the migration, as well as the migration to accrual accounting as per the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, and the design and implementation of an internal audit framework to improve transparency and reporting. In this regard, over the next fiscal year, the Assembly will also take steps to adopt a multi-term budgeting framework, which will prioritize, allocate, and manage the resources of the Assembly, and also institute policy to inform the allocation of revenue and expenditure over the medium term up to 5 years. This new approach will bring the budget analysis, decision-making, and expenditure under greater control earlier in the cycle, since decisions made today will influence annual budgets over the next 3 to 4 years. Madam Presiding Officer, adopting a multi-term budgeting framework will allow the Assembly to achieve greater expenditure efficiency and inclusive growth, and will protect priority spending while delaying other non-priority spending when resources are constrained. It will also encourage a more strategic approach to resource allocation and more efficient planning over the medium term. Through our participation, the Assembly will be able to advance a program of results-based management underpinned by real-time monitoring and evaluation of measurable indicators towards sound fiscal management. Madam Presiding Officer, over the course of fiscal 2019, as we pursue the results-based management approach, the Assembly will work with the Caribbean Development Bank and the Ministry of Planning and Development to address a key factor in performance management, which is the implementation deficit. The CDB, along with many stakeholders, have identified the delivery of effective development outcomes as one of the severe challenges facing policymakers and practitioners across the region. They have sought to address this by providing a platform for practitioners to share best practices to enhance efficiency and performance of the public sector. The Assembly intends to adopt a new performance management framework that includes practical tools, techniques, and innovative concepts to enhance performance and improve coordination and service delivery across an array of strategic areas. Madam Presiding Officer, one such area is the commissioning of a Tobago infrastructure investment strategy and associated medium-term Tobago infrastructural plans. The Executive Council has approved the development of this initiative to inform the island's spatial development strategy and foster a more integrated approach to infrastructure planning and investment. Moreover, The development of such a spatial investment the development of such a capital investment strategy not only defines Tobago's infrastructure priorities, but also provides a transparent, coordinated, and unified approach to investment and procurement, resulting in the development of a comprehensive and viable project pipeline for both publicly initiated and unsolicited proposals, ultimately ensuring better value for money. The Tobago Infrastructure Investment Strategy will be driven by a multi-sectoral committee whose role will be to plan for and satisfy Tobago's future infrastructural needs. The core committee will be led by the Investment and Public-Private Partnership Unit in the Division of Finance and Economy, and will comprise planners, engineers, project managers, technical staff, representatives of the utilities and environmental agencies, as well as financial and economic analysts and social scientists, to ensure that a responsible cross-section of decision makers are represented and to capitalize on opportunities for linkages between divisions, departments, and agencies. The Tobago Infrastructure Investment Strategy and the multi-sectoral committee will also include representation from the private sector, civil society, and Madam Presiding Officer, let me emphasize here that we will seek to secure bipartisan support where necessary. As the Tobago Infrastructure Investment Strategy is fundamentally aligned with elements of Inter-American Development Bank's Emerging Sustainable Cities Initiative and the institutional development component of their neighborhood upgrading and revitalization program. The multi-sectoral committee, through the IP3 unit, will leverage technical support from the relevant IDB groups to assist the Assembly to become sufficiently equipped to undertake the task of strategic programming and prioritizing, developing not only policy recommendations, but also an action plan for comprehensive investment planning. Madam Presiding Officer, this is just one facet of our larger public-private partnership policy framework. Madam Presiding Officer, through the support of the IDB, the CDB, and the Canadian High Commission, we have developed a robust framework to advance viable candidate projects for execution via the PPP modality. This framework will be published on the websites of the Assembly and the Division of Finance and Economy, and a series of stakeholder sensitization sessions will follow. It is hoped that all relevant stakeholders in Tobago will participate in these initiatives to be best positioned for the upcoming opportunities. Madam Presiding Officer, the Assembly has also continued its discussions with the CDB and the IDB on alternative financing for infrastructure projects with significant environmental impact, such as the Coastal Protection Program for the stabilization of Milford Road, Grange Bay, coastal erosion mitigation and protection at Pigeon Point, and as well as the relocation of the Scarborough Secondary School. Madam Presiding Officer, before I conclude, I wish to take this opportunity to address a few critical socioeconomic issues affecting Tobago, which will have long-term development implications for the island. Madam Presiding Officer, the first issue is that of the inter-island transportation system. The inter-island transportation system provides critical support, particularly to the tourism and agricultural sectors. Over the last year, the inter-island transportation system has been a major cause of concern for Tobagonians. Its impact is far-reaching and includes not only the business community, but the wider Tobago and Trinidad population. In this regard, Madam Presiding Officer, let me take this opportunity to publicly thank Tobagonians for their patience while we seek to find a sustainable solution. Although things have improved significantly, Our objective is to ensure that Tobagonians and visitors alike can travel between the islands in a dignified manner. In this regard, we are currently in discussions with consultants to conduct a study on the inter-island transportation system, examining policy, planning, and operational issues, including the evaluation of the management structures and the possibility of alternative arrangements for improved travel. Madam Presiding Officer, I'm also heartened by the news from the Prime Minister's recent visit to Australia, resulting in the acquisition of 2 new fast ferries for Tobago. These vessels, together with the Galleon Passage, will replace the aging fleet and minimize the current challenges on the sea bridge. Madam Presiding Officer, the second issue is that of crime and security, an issue which this administration continues to treat with seriously. Accordingly, there are ongoing collaborations between the Assembly and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to maximize our efforts towards fighting crime on the island. As a result of these discussions, over the last year, 20 additional police officers were assigned to Tobago to strengthen the force and to assist with crime fighting on the island. In addition, the Tobago House of Assembly has collaborated with the Ministry of National Security on a new initiative entitled the National Crime Prevention Program, and an Assembly-led working group was created by the Office of the Chief Secretary to coordinate the Tobago Community Crime Prevention Strategy. Madam Presiding Officer, the third issue is that of self-government for Tobago. The issue of self-government for Tobago has been a long-standing and thorny issue, with significant development implications for all citizens in Tobago and Trinidad. The prospects for financing Tobago's development are significant. I'm happy that after years of consultations, debates, and arguments, we are now much closer to achieve this seemingly elusive goal of self-government for our island. I am pleased that the bill is now before a Joint Select Committee of Parliament, and I hope that the committee can complete its work in the shortest possible time to pave the way for the process to move forward. Madam Presiding Officer, it is hoped that when the bill is placed before Parliament for debate, our friends in opposition would see beyond narrow parties and politics and would also encourage their friends in Trinidad to support this bill. Madam Presiding Officer, there are some issues that transcend party politics. The issue of self-government for Tobago is one of them. Self-government goes far beyond party preferences. It centers on the development of Tobago and its people. Therefore, I continue to urge all of Tobago to get involved. Let us increase the momentum until we achieve self-government for Tobago. Madam Presiding Officer, the fourth issue I wish to address relates to ongoing collaborations between the Tobago House of Assembly and the central government. The Tobago House of Assembly and the central government continue to collaborate on a number of major projects geared towards this island's development. For instance, Madam Presiding Officer, the construction of the Old Grange and Rockford police stations are just an example. The Old Grange police station is 50% completed, and its expected completion date is November 2018. The Roxborough police station is about 23% completed, and its expected completion date is April 2019. Another project is the construction of the new terminal for the A&R Robinson International Airport at Crown Point. The Tobago House of Assembly continues to collaborate with the central government on this project, given its critical role in the expansion of the long-term viability for the Tobago tourism sector. The estimated cost of construction of the new terminal is $500 million. Also, Madam Presiding Officer, other major works to be undertaken in collaboration with the central government include the construction of a marina in Tobago. The marina has the potential to enhance our tourism, to enhance tourism spend and as well positively impact this island's development. Madam Presiding Officer, last but not least, the Tobago House of Assembly continues to join forces with the central government regarding the construction of the Sandals and Beaches Resort. This project would assist in addressing the existing problem of the shortage of quality room stock on the island. It is estimated that Tobago has a room stock gap of approximately 2,500 rooms. This project also has the potential to change the socioeconomic landscape of Tobago. For instance, the presence of a Sandals resort on the island would notably enhance the marketability of Tobago as a premier destination. It will also provide possibilities of increased airlift to Tobago out of the North American markets, as this is being experienced currently by our Caribbean neighbors. Therefore, there's much to be gained through this Sandals and Beaches initiative, as will not only promote the island, but also contribute to our national diversification efforts. Madam Presiding Officer, we must adequately prepare to optimize the benefits to be derived from this project. The agricultural sector, for example, must be prepared so that they can ramp up production to accommodate the anticipated demand. Our citizens also need to be ready to meet the standards of excellence and customer service that will be undoubtedly be demanded by these hotels. As a responsible body, the Assembly understands that the proposed location is environmentally sensitive. Therefore, we will ensure that we will work with the central government to provide adequate care and attention to protect our pristine natural environment. I want to give Tobagonians the assurance that this administration is committed to ensuring that there will be no injury to the environment, and we will also ensure that Tobago derives optimal benefits from these discussions.